All right, we are recording. I hope this works because OBS Studio, brand new to me, have no idea, and we are very out of practice.
Yay!
um,
Experimental doohickey.
well, yeah, whatever. So, hey guys, welcome. Geekamole's back, at least for today. And why? Because Wonder Woman, and Mouse being the Wonder Woman fanboy that he is. It keeps going in and off screen. There we go. We had just seen it last night. Well, I saw it last night. When did you see it? Did you see it last night?
Last night.
Okay.
Yep. Last night.
Yeah, I come back from seeing it just to see a Mouse and a Kermit flitter.
Yay!
I couldn't tell what he was. I couldn't tell if it was a good response or a bad response. So let's talk Wonder Woman, because after the disaster that was the Volta movie that shall not be named,
and the other one,
and the other one, the one that made
the
you want to commit
did not
suicide.
survive. How's that?
Yeah. So let's start off with the overall feeling. How did it make you feel overall?
Yay!
Let's verbalize that a little bit.
All right. So, to be honest, hell has frozen over because DC actually made a great Wonder Woman movie. It also made a good movie, and it. Okay, I came out of that movie basically going, this is the movie I have been waiting for all of my life. All of my life as a Wonder Woman fan basically has been me sitting around going, well, why doesn't Wonder Woman get a movie? Why doesn't she get a movie? Batman has 1,300 movies. Superman gets 5 reboots. Why doesn't Wonder Woman get one movie?
75 years in the making.
75 years in the making, and it's a wonderful movie. I really think it's a wonderful movie. It's probably the one superhero movie I'm going to watch more than once after Guardians of the Galaxy. Number one, I just loved it. I loved every minute of it. Even in the moments where I went, "Ooh, they changed that," I still went, "You know what? I can for the cinematic incarnation, I'm gonna go with this. I can totally get behind this."
Personally, I liked, I'd say 95% of it.
Which is about what the score is on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, the only thing I didn't care for was the final battle, because I felt it was, as much as I am a fan of special effects, I thought it was just a little too special effectsy.
Well, at least it wasn't nearly as much as the mess that Dawn of Justice was.
Well, yeah, but otherwise, I really liked the tone. I think the character development in it was genuine. Unlike Henry Cavill's portrayal of Superman, where he's depressed and morbid and morose the entire time, when Gal Gadot takes Wonder Woman to that dark, hopeless place, she at least has a glimmer.
And honestly, and when she smiles, she lights up the screen. It's amazing.
I think one of the good things is about the movie being delayed as it was is because it gave us time to let go of Linda Carter as the iconic Wonder Woman, and to go, oh, okay, I'll give Gal Gadot a shot. What the hell? So I think the at least the time between them announcing her as in the role and producing the movie, I think that is fine. I still wish she were taller, but that's just a personal preference.
That's why they have her on those wedge platforms.
Well, that and they put her around a bunch of tiny actors. So speaking of the actor cast, let's start with Gal Gadot.
Oh, God. Okay, so many of you know that I was very skeptical when Gal Gadot was first announced as Wonder Woman. Especially since it had been Zack Snyder who had gotten behind the casting idea. And you know that my opinion of Zack Snyder is not very good as a director. I am so happy to eat crow on this. I thought she was fantastic in Dawn of Justice. I thought she was actually the only thing worth watching on Dawn of Justice after, Ben Affleck and his Alfred. But I have to admit, I still had a bit of a glimmer of doubt going into this. You know, as this movie was preparing to launch, I was thinking, can she carry the role? I mean, she did great with 15 minutes, but will she be able to sustain a full role? Does she have that magnetism that you need to have to play Wonder Woman? And God, I was floored. She owns the role. She really does inhabit the character. Um, and I kind of knew this was going to be the case by the time the pre-screening came in. Uh, I follow Christy Marston's Facebook page. She is the granddaughter of William Moulton Marston, who created Wonder Woman. And I told her, let us know what the reaction is, because she got invited to the opening night with Linda Carter and Diane Nelson, Trina Robbins, and she posted just one reply after she saw the movie, in all caps, gigantic font, yes, and about 10 exclamation points. And exclamation marks. And at that point I knew, okay, this is going to be a good Wonder Woman movie. And oh my God, I want to see more Gal Gadot Wonder Woman.
I thought she did an excellent portrayal. I had absolutely no complaints about anything she did. Again, like I said, unlike with Cavill, where Superman was perpetually depressed, it seemed. Why am I saving these people? I am so lonely. She actually, even when they were showing the horrors of war, and she's like, we have to do something. Well, we can't do anything. We have to do something. We can't do anything. And she's just, you could see the expressions. It's like, are you people insane? We have to do something.
Yes.
And every time they told her no, she's like, well, you know what? Screw you. I'm going to do something.
And we've seen this scene in the trailers where she basically starts crossing no man's land.
It was no man's land, but it was clearly one woman's land.
I honestly, we all had that Tolkien line in the background.
Oh yeah,
we knew immediately.
I'm
so glad she didn't say it, but because that that would have been. But oh my gosh, I went oh, I see what you did there.
No man can cross it unless it's being led by me.
I am no man.
All right, how about Captain Kirk? I mean, Chris Pine, Steve Trevor.
Hey, I think Chris Pine can be hilarious. I depending on when and where he's acting, I love him or hate him. I want to slap him as Captain Kirk. I loved him as Steve Trevor.
I thought the little sexual awkwardness between the two of them was hysterical.
It was adorable. Oh my God.
Especially when she's talking about, I read all 12 treatises on blah, 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 and sexual reproduction. And he's like, well, I'd like to read one. She's like, no.
It was Cleo's treatises on the pleasures of the flesh.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad one of us memorizes.
I just thought it was hilarious. Because that scene is one of my favorite ones. Because just...
Do you not sleep with your women? Oh, we sleep with them. I mean, would you say you're average for a man? I'm above average. I thought it was hysterical.
He has great chemistry with Gadot. And honestly, I like the fact that he is a mixture of action hero and damsel in distress, and also comedic relief, but also a serious character. He is not like a stock character in this sense. He actually does fill out very well, and I really, really like what they did with him.
And I think he brings the essence of what Steve Trevor is forward.
Yeah.
So, the man who steps in and wants to be the dashing hero, but realizes you're not the star of this movie, sir.
Yeah. He's basically like, my name's not on the title. I'm just going to step back here and let you do that thing.
Oh, you can deflect bullets. Oh, okay. You do that thing, and I'm just going to point. All right. Lucy Davis is Etta Candy.
Oh God.
We didn't see much of her, but she is hysterical, I think.
Oh my God. I loved her Etta Candy so much. I wanted to see more of her. I'm actually sad that she wasn't used more often, but honestly, with so much that the movie had, it would have felt a little like padding. I thought she was wonderful. It's a different take on the character, of course. It's not the Etta Candy that we know from the Golden Age comics. You know, the beta sorority girl, and she's not, of course, the army woman, the U.S. Army woman. But I loved this take on Etta and how she's a suffragette. She's in the suffrage movement. I hope that in the sequel we get maybe a flashback to maybe some antics between Wonder Woman and Etta Candy, because I can see Wonder Woman getting involved in that movement. I just want to see more of her too.
I loved every moment, every interaction she was on the screen. You know, the moment she pulls out the sword to try and stop the guy from escaping. I didn't even know it was Lucy Davis. I thought it was, I don't know, I'm drawing a blank on her name, but there's another actress I thought it was, and I was like, who are you? I don't think I've ever heard of you. All right, so let's talk about the Amazons, specifically Robin Wright as Antiope and Connie Nielsen as Hippolyta, and then all the others.
I have to say the Amazons were pretty much perfect. Antipyope, as I call her, because she's the auntie. I really like the tension between her and Hippolyta. You can tell Hippolyta is being so protective, and Robin Wright just plays her really, really. She gets that maternal, protective, tiger mother feeling across very, very well.
Well, Connie Nielsen was Hippolyta.
Yeah, I mean, sorry. Yes, Connie Nielsen. Robin Wright was Antipyope. I had her in my mind because of the. I can't talk about that because that's a spoiler.
Yeah, we're going to actually try and be spoiler-free for a change.
We are spoiler-free. I had her in my mind because of one particular scene that was so well done. But you'll see it when you see the movie. I liked the tension between them. I also liked that we saw a very wide variety of Amazons, both in build and ethnic backgrounds. It's actually very close to how the George Perez Amazons appear. You have some Amazons who are clearly of African descent, and they're not named in the movie, but you can see them in the credits, and you've got credit. Philippus is in there, for example, and you will know immediately who Philippus is. There's the moment where she is shown, you can tell immediately who she is. I loved how Themyscira looked. I loved their approach.
Was gorgeous.
Oh God, I'm like, they better make a good game out of this. That's all I'm saying.
Let me just sneak onto the island. I'll find a corner and be quiet.
Yeah.
I won't bother nobody.
And the fact that they recruited actual female athletes to fill the role of the Amazons, and you can tell these are rugged women. These are women who are strong, who are comfortable in their bodies. And that fight choreography was gorgeous.
Mm.
Oh, you get to see the Amazons
on the horse, flipping over the air, jumping over people's heads, bouncing off shields. You get to see the Amazons
kick ass in such an amazing way that, let's put it this way, the movie does very well by the Amazons.
And never once did I have to fear, my God, bees.
My God, bees. What have they done?
All right, over to Trevor's group. We've got Ewan Bremer as Charlie the Sniper, Saeed, I'm going to mess his last name up, I'm sorry, Tagmui as Samir, and Eugene Rock as Chief.
Oh, God. They're kind of like the Three Musketeers meet the Three Stooges.
I was going more Three Stooges.
Of war. I love those guys. And I love the whole rapport they get with Diana, especially after the scene after the No Man's Land. I just thought they were adorable.
I think they represented the very. It wasn't. I was afraid that they would give him a troop that would be very whitewashy. Oh, it's a bunch of British people, but no, you've got the Native American smuggler, you've got the the Middle Eastern actor, and you have the Scotsman who was a sniper who liked to sing, and
Oh God.
wasn't much of a sniper on top of that.
I love that guy. It's they could have easily been written as throwaway characters, but it says a lot for this movie that even the non-player characters, game-wise, even the supporting cast is very, very memorable. These three smugglers really did make a lot of moments for me that I enjoyed a lot.
As I was talking to Mouse earlier, I was saying literally my favorite line came from Samir. I am frightened and oddly aroused.
And I liked the moment that he shares with Diana in the town square when he's talking about what his dreams were, but how the prejudice of the time forced him to go down a different path. And I thought that was a very, it was a very well written moment. It could have been written very ham-fisty, but it was not, and I was very happy about that.
Well, I think it was one of the things that they did with all three of the characters is they set them up as a potential stereotype. And then through the course of their interactions with Diana, you realize these weren't really stereotypes.
Nope.
They each had some depth and some reason behind them. And, it's like, Chief is there, and she's like, you're profiting off war? And he's like, well, no, I've got nowhere else to go. This is, this is freedom to me. And, so I think that each character was well thought out and well revealed.
Yes.
And so there weren't any stereotypical characters on that side. Now let's go to the potentially stereotypical characters. I'm not going to say who Ares is. I'm not. So we're not even going to discuss Ares as a character because that's a spoiler.
Spoiler alert.
So we're just gonna say characters as characters. So Danny Houston is General Ludendorff.
Well, he is very much a.
He is very much the stereotypical German.
Well, here's the thing. This movie really has a star, but it also has a starring cast, and it's clearly focused on the heroes. Mm. The villains don't get that much time for development.
They really didn't get any time for development, quite honestly.
He didn't, really. But to be honest, if we had more time to develop him, we would have had less time for Wonder Woman. And I think that what we saw of Wonder Woman in the movie was exactly what we needed to see to serve the story and to show her character progression. So honestly, I am perfectly fine with the villains not being fully fleshed out in this movie.
I think also it helps with the reveal.
It does help with the reveal. And I also think that Ludendorff is kind of a good... He's kind of a good embodiment of the Prussian war mentality that was very much a thing during World War One. You had some generals who were kind of like crazy nutbuggers, like this guy, who penned treatises on the usefulness of war as a moral amplifier for the character of the people. Mm-hmm. So he seems very larger than life, and in many ways he is, but he's really not a huge stretch from some of the authoritarians who were wagging their tongues around in the period. Mm. And he does. Danny Houston does a great job with the small amount of material that he has. Mm. You want to punch him in the face all the time.
Well, he does. You're like, what? Sometimes, Now, Elena Anaya as Dr. Poison.
I like I said, I know that we had to sacrifice development for characters to serve Wonder Woman. I really would have liked to see more of her Dr. Poison. There's something about how she portrayed her that really made me want to learn more about her history,
especially at the very end in that final conflict.
Oh God.
I'm like, there's something missing here that I wish you could have gone into.
Yes. Maybe we'll see it in part in the sequel. Maybe
at that point it would have to be a retelling or something. Speaking of which, when they said that this was supposed to take place in 3 time periods, I was wary.
Me too.
I am glad that they did it the way they did it. There is the opening and closing time period where it is told in total flashback. There is Diana's childhood, and then there is the story. Any more broken up, and I think it would have been.
It would have felt disjointed.
Yeah, so I think that is fine. I was worried, and I'm okay with that. What do you feel about? Again, let's be as spoiler free as we can about the origin story.
So, a good chunk of it is very faithful to the canon, except for one particular change. I'm not entirely sure why they went for that change.
Oh, I know why. I at least I can hazard guesses, and it's to amp the comparison to Superman in those who don't know any better, I guess. And to try and pull... I suspect that it was a little bit of trying to pull New 52 and original together into one story. And I could see the logic in how they did it. And I have no complaint with that. I don't know if I necessarily like it, but...
Yeah, honestly, it feels like there was maybe a huge serving of the old Wonder Woman mythos and a drop of the New 52. And a drop of the New 52 is perfectly fine. No more is needed. The fact that we had Amazons who believed, they clearly believed in being the more, rational, the less warlike people, as opposed to the murder, rape Amazons of the New 52. I'm perfectly fine with that. If they tweaked her origin a little bit, okay. It's fine. It doesn't really change who Wonder Woman is in that sense, because she still had her upbringing with the Amazons. She still had, she still has this whole philosophical outlook that is part of the Amazon belief. She just goes a little bit further, like she's always done. So if you had told me, no spoilers, if you had told me a year ago what they planned to do with her origin, I would have been, no. But seeing how they did it, I'm okay with it.
So I think a lot of what happened with the movie is that things spilled, and we all had our visceral reactions to the spilling because they were spilled out of context. And without we're doing this, but we're doing it really low key. It's kind of just, like a little spread on top of the bread.
Yeah.
And so not only that, but we had time to work through our visceral responses, and then they toned it down from what we thought it was going to be on top of it. So you're like, nah, okay. It's different, but I can handle it. I do have to give Patty Jenkins kudos for insisting. She insisted that the story be trimmed down to its most essential scenes, so that there wouldn't be any reshoot, so that there wouldn't be any extra material cut out. Patty Jenkins did the same thing that she did with Monster, which was basically she shot only the scenes that needed to be shot, no more,
no less. There were reshoots for action sequences, which are necessary, but there's no deleted scenes and no extra material lying around. And I think this was smart. Well, first of all, because a unified artistic vision tightens things up. It's and you can tell this movie is tight. But it also keeps Warner Brothers from wanting to grab all of the deleted scenes and make two different cuts of the movie, show it to two different audiences, and then try to splice it together.
Well, not just that, but you run into the problem that you had with Dawn of Justice, where you have scenes that were cut out of the final movie that explain crap that was left in.
Yeah.
Such that you get a movie that's like, what? Why? And then you have to figure it out and watch the lead scenes. No. The key essential element to telling a story is to tell what must be done. Have the miscellaneous detail in the back of your mind. But if it doesn't pertain to the stuff on the screen, you don't need to see it.
Yep.
It's background information for you. Great. Now, let's give it a rating, because we are like 25 minutes and some change here. On a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being orgasmic, what would you give it?
I'm gonna give it a 9.8.
I would give it a 9. Solid 9. I as Bianca Del Rio says, I did not hate this.
You didn't know what?
I did not hate this.
The Wonder Woman movie is to the DC cinematic universe what Rebirth was to the comics, basically. It's this total change in direction, tighter focused, and it's actually focused on a hero who behaves like a hero.
Yeah.
Wonder Woman is not sitting on some perch brooding. She's not going, oh gosh, I'm saving these people. Why must I do this? Why must misery endure?
We forgot to even talk about how they changed over that line that you hated.
Which line was that?
The line about how I used to fight for mankind, and it was sounding like, oh, she's retired and she's don't do it.
Well, here's the thing. The line that was in freaking Dawn of Justice, where she says, I walked away from mankind, etc., etc. You can tell that Patty Jenkins went in and said, no, we need to fix this. We need to fix this crap. And let me put it this way. They put a twist on that line in this movie that actually makes it work as something Wonder Woman would have said. And it makes perfect sense. You can tell that was not what Zack Snyder intended in Dawn of Justice.
Well, because Dawn of Justice, all the heroes were supposed to be like the freaking Watchmen. Everybody was all disappointed in humanity. And, why are we here?
And you know what I think of Zack Snyder as a director. I am really very sorry that he had to step down because of a family loss. My heart goes out to him. It was a horrible thing, but I think it's gonna be good for him to take time with his family, reconnect with that, and it's also going to help perhaps all of these projects heal a little bit better, because I think he's been in a dark place for a while, and the tragedy that happened at home made it worse for him. And
I think that's probably colored some of his vision.
I hope he can find some solace. It's a horrible thing. It really is a horrible thing to go through what he has gone through, and I hope we get to see more of his work when he is in a better place. When he feels joyful about making something, because right now he admitted it's not a joy, he just can't do it. And I can totally see that when you lose someone you love, that in that fashion, it's just, I hope for a good healing for him and his family in that sense. And so Jeff Johns has taken over the Justice League project, and I think that's a good fit, because Jeff Johns made his name writing both the Justice League and of course the Green Lantern. He can't write Wonder Woman at all, at all, period. But he's got everybody else in that group pretty much figured out. And Patty Jenkins has been confirmed to direct Wonder Woman 2, and right now the movie looks like they're going for the 100 million opening weekend, which is awesome. It's basically it.
And crushing both Pirates and Baywatch.
Yeah, crushing both Pirates and Baywatch, and this is going to be the first hugely successful female protagonist superhero movie directed by a female director that will be both a critical and commercial success if projections continue to be what they are.
And good on you, DC, for beating Marvel to the punch at something.
I mean, here's the thing. If Marvel had beaten DC on this, they would have never lived this down, because Wonder Woman is the first. She's not historically the first female superhero, but she was the first female superhero to get her own comic book. To be honest, she is the quintessential female superhero. She's been around for 75 years. She has been a feminist icon. She has been a representation for so many different things. You really couldn't let Marvel do a Captain Marvel movie before DC could do a Wonder Woman movie. But I'll say this, good on Zack Snyder for being able to see Wonder Woman and Gal Gadot when I and a lot of people went, no. That was a stroke of genius casting. And I will give him the kudos for that to all, for eternity. And kudos for letting Patty Jenkins do this, even though Patty Jenkins had been hassling DC for 13 years to get this movie done. And even then, she was still not the original director choice.
But I hope y'all learned. I hope y'all learned, because we remember, she wasn't the first choice. They had this other director who wanted Wonder Woman to have a talking tiger and stuff like that. But good on DC for clearly letting Patty Jenkins have a lot more free reign than they let the director of Suicide Squad have. And on that note, we are past 30 minutes, and thank you, everybody, for coming back and watching us for this. We don't know what's going to happen with Geekamole yet, because, scheduling and crap.
Yeah,
we'll
CC is
something out.
A very busy woman.
So, peace, guys, and go see Wonder Woman, and we're waiting for Justice League to come out, and we'll see how that one goes.
Yeah, and if that one isn't good, there's always Wonder Woman 2.
Well, there you go. Bye!
Bye!